Thanks, Aaron. I'm now joined by Adam and Donna from the Kent State for Bernie Club. Thanks for coming on today, guys. Can you introduce yourselves and the club you represent?
Yeah, my name is Adam Schrader. I'm a double major in political science and public communication, and I'm the president of Kent State for Bernie.
And I'm Donna Ravi. I'm a senior digital sciences major, and I'm the communications director for Kent State for Bernie.
Oh. Yeah. Why did you guys decide to start this club?
Yeah, so we started this club last semester because there's just so much rich history on this campus of political activism, especially progressive anti-war activism, and that's something that Bernie has stood for his entire life, and there's so much support for Bernie on campus, but no one was really organizing that, so we just wanted to organize that and mobilize students to go out and vote for Senator Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of disheartening to see how many people feel disempowered in election seasons, and we've been able to reach out to so many students who think wow, we can actually do something about this election and not just sit there until November, pretty much, so.
I'm sure you guys have heard this a billion times or been asked this, but why do you believe Senator Sanders is the most qualified to become the Democratic Party's nomination?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the polls, he's definitely the most electable. I think people tend to look mostly for who's the most electable. But so far, we've seen that he's highest in the polls for the caucuses in Iowa and New Hampshire. And studies have shown, well, actually just historically, whoever wins the caucuses in Iowa and New Hampshire have always become the nominee for that party. So that's looking pretty good for him.
And I mean, he has record fundraising right now. Most donors, most individual donors, the only candidate with more individual donations than Donald Trump. He has the highest favorability ratings, most popular senator in the country. So we really think he's the best candidate to beat Trump. And just his consistency on the issues and always being on the right side of history and fighting for marginalized groups and stuff. So that's why we support Bernie.
Many people within the Democratic Party believe he cannot win, and he will give 4 more years to Donald Trump if he gains the nomination. Now, would you guys rather, because I think it's fair to say that everybody in the Democratic Party does not like Donald Trump, and I think it's fair to say that whoever is the nominee is the person you two would vote for. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Would you rather that Bernie Sanders is not the nominee, or would you rather that Bernie Sanders wins the nomination, but Donald Trump wins?
Well, if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, he is going to beat Trump. Because like we said, he has the highest favorability ratings out of any of the Democratic candidates. The record fundraising, he has the enthusiasm, the momentum. So I don't think he would lose to Donald Trump. And he's beating Trump in head-to-head general election polls in swing states and overall in the country. So we're trying to make him the nominee because we think that he will beat Trump.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, there's so many issues that Bernie can really attack, especially foreign policy. He has always been pretty strongly against war. That's something I'm very passionate about. So, would I vote for, let's say, Biden if he was the nominee? I suppose I'd have to, but we live in a world where we can elect Bernie instead.
Yeah,
so.
And I think there's this narrative in the Democratic Party where you can either vote for your values in this election or you can vote for someone who will beat Trump. But you don't have to do that when you vote for Bernie. You can vote for your values and what you support. And polls do show that the Democrats support him most on the issues that they care about, like healthcare, the economy, the environment. So you don't have to choose between those two. You can both have someone who is going to win and beat Trump, and you can vote your values and have those policies implemented.
How do you feel about Hillary Clinton's recent comments about Bernie Sanders?
I mean, like I said, he has the highest favorability ratings out of any of the candidates. He's the most popular senator. There's a lot of people that like him. But obviously, the establishment is really against him because they see him as a threat to their power and their wealth. And we think that's a good thing because those kinds of people have had too much power in this country.
And I think it's kind of interesting, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
It's just interesting because she lost the election last time, and there are a lot of people who seem to think that had Bernie been the nominee, that we might have had 4 years of Bernie by now. So I think it's kind of interesting people take her opinion to importance.
Well, one of the reasons why there's been a lot of backlash by Democratic voters on Bernie Sanders is they feel he's unelectable, but also because they feel many of his supporters are bullies. I'm sure you guys are aware of the Bernie Bros and that sentiment that many Bernie Sanders supporters give off to people in that opinion. How do you guys feel about that?
So I just want to dismantle the Bernie bro narrative because Bernie has the most donations from women out of any of the candidates. He has the most diverse coalition too. He's #1 with people of color. He's #1 with black voters under the age of 35, #1 with Hispanic voters, Asian American voters. So that narrative is very false. But I mean, we're just very passionate about the issues, and it's never just been about one candidate. It's never just been about Bernie Sanders. We are passionate about the issues, and we're willing to fight for that. So I think that's where that narrative comes from.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm very clearly not a man. So it's kind of strange when people are like, oh, you're just a Bernie bro, you're just a bot on Twitter. And it's like, no, I'm a woman, I'm the daughter of immigrants, I'm very passionate about these issues, and that's why I'm willing to fight for them, as Adam said.
The impact of Ariana Grande's endorsement and other icons of our generation just continues his appeal with young voters, and he's had that appeal to young voters for a long time. But how do you guys feel about that impact that he has with that voting pool?
I think he's been so appealing to young voters because we've been told for so long that, you know, we should just be satisfied with making $8 an hour and being, you know, having to work full time and still not making enough money to pay the bills and stuff. We're supposed to be satisfied with going $50,000 in debt, you know, to get an education, to get a job. We're supposed to be satisfied with paying premiums, deductibles, and co-pays just for CEOs to tell us what they're not going to cover with our health insurance. But what Bernie's saying is that a better world is possible. That does not have to happen. Like, we can change this entire society, and it's a movement, not just one candidate, and that's what's so inspiring to young people.
Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come on this show. And that is all the time that we have for us today on Portage Pulse. Thanks for being on with us. Back to you, Aaron.